Hey everybody, BJ Rogers with Emancipet, back to say a few more words about leadership. In a previous chat, we talked a little bit about leadership as change management and change management as loss management. And if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C, which is to say that leadership equals the management of loss. The place that comes from, the framework in which that understanding originates, is called adaptive leadership. It's a theory of leadership generated from the Kennedy School by a couple of guys named Ron Heifetz and Marty Linsky, who continue to teach and speak and consult today. You should check out their work. It's fascinating stuff, and it really, I have to say, it changed my life in terms of my understanding of what it means to exercise or practice leadership. So let me try to take a semester's worth of content and crunch it down as much as I can into 3 or 4 minutes of time. So I'm going to diagram this out for you the way that they do, and then we can follow up on it in another video. So on the horizontal axis, we have time. Over here is today, or now, and over here, we'll say is a better tomorrow, or progress. On the vertical axis, we have disequilibrium. I think of being on a boat when I think of disequilibrium, that work of getting one's sea legs, right? Leaving the dock and then adjusting to the conditions out in the world to remain as stable and comfortable on deck as possible. So down here, we have ease, some degree of comfort, and maybe, I would say in worst case, we have stasis. Nothing really happening down here, right? Up here, on the other hand, we are in a place we will call complete dismay. So, couple more elements. This dotted line here represents something that Heifetz and Linsky call the threshold of learning. This is that place we need to get to in order for learning to take place, right? If we're just in the groove, we know what we're doing, it's complete expertise, it's our comfort zone, we're not likely to do a whole lot of learning. However, there is, so we need to be kind of nudged out of our safety zone in order to start to learn. But there's a top line there for most of us too, and that is our limit of tolerance. This is that place beyond which we have been sort of rocketed into our most reptilian brain function, where we are just worried about survival. And this is the fight, flight, or freeze universe, above which no learning can really take place because we are just focused on getting by, getting through, making it to the next minute. In the middle is sort of the special place. This is where stuff happens. This is that place between our ability to learn and our risk of shutting down, in which we can progress in meaningful ways toward a better tomorrow. Heifetz and Linsky call this space the zone of productive learning, or of productive work. And their case is simply this, that the job of somebody exercising leadership is really to create and hold this space for as many people as possible, for as long as possible, to realize the desired change. To keep as many folks as possible in this zone over time to get to that better tomorrow. So think of it this way. Think about, think about your car, right? Your car has a tachometer, and that tachometer is usually measured in RPMs. It's the speed, the counting of rotations per minute of your engine, right? And it usually has kind of a few zones, right? And in this first zone here, we are in idle, right? You start the car, it doesn't go anywhere, but it runs. It's functioning, but it's not going anywhere, right? This is sort of this corner. In the middle space, we have kind of progress, right? You put the car in gear, you put your foot on the pedal, and you begin to go somewhere. You begin to make progress. And on the other end, we have sort of the danger zone, right? So this might be 1100, this might be up to 4,000, and now we're starting to get into trouble. The place where we could sort of seize up or burn up our engine. This is the argument that they're making. This space right in the middle is that zone of productive work, or that zone of productive learning. This is where progress can be made, where we can go from point A to some other point, not necessarily just to point B, but make some sort of progress. And that the job of someone who is exercising leadership is controlling for this over time, knowing when to put a little more pressure on the gas, knowing when to let off, to keep people from rocketing out, but to keep them above that threshold so that they can really learn what needs to be learned in order to make something better happen. So it's a lot of content in a tiny little bit of time. I've taken up more than I said I would. I hope you find this useful. Check out Leadership on the Line by Heifetz and Linsky. It's a great book. It'll go into this in more detail, and we'll talk a little bit more in a future session. Thanks. Have a good one.